everyone, Abby here, Purple Cottage Crafts. Before I get started, I want to apologize for my appearance. I am in my downstairs craft room and it is really hot in here, and so I have my fan on low. Usually I try to turn it off when I film, but it's just too hot, I can't. And I'm dressed for work mode, so I'm not fixed up very nice, so I apologize for that. And I may look at the wrong spot when I'm doing this because I don't really film myself with my face, so please forgive me for that. So I just wanted to kind of do an update video and kind of let you guys know where I've been and why I've been doing so many de-stash videos and why I don't have any actual crafting tutorial type videos up on my channel. So I'm going to be putting something at the end of this video in case you are not interested in watching it, and that is completely fine if you don't want to. I won't know that you won't or don't want to, and that's fine, but I'm going to say it just so I can kind of get it over. For those of you who know, we have had a little mini Dachshund, and her name is Bella, and she just turned 11 March 30th, and we had to put her down a little over a week ago. She developed stomach cancer, and she was really emaciated, and it was the humane thing to do, although I wanted to keep her because, you know, I love her, and it's been hard. And I know for some people who maybe not have pets, I'm doing like what my grandma used to. Don't know why I'd stick it there. Pardon me if you see it and you think it's weird. This is weird. I don't have pockets on these shorts. So anyway, I had pets growing up. We had, I have 5 siblings. I mean, we had things like turtles, which is where my love of turtles came from. Birds, and one of my brothers had a boa constrictor, which my mom hated. Dogs, cats. Can't remember if I said birds or not. So we had quite the variety of pets growing up, and I had a couple cats when I had moved out on my own, and it was just me and my kids, and I have never been so attached to an animal in my life as I have been with Bella, and she was more than just like a pet or a dog. The year I got diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia, which was in 2014, she became like my support dog or companion dog. I'm not sure what the right word is for that. And I know pets in general typically, like, dogs and cats, or I think maybe more dogs, I don't know, because animals can sense when you're hurting, scared, those types of emotions. And Bella's always been like a lap dog. I mean, she's just little. I mean, she was like this long and her legs were like that. I mean, she was just a little, just Google a mini Dachshund if you've never seen one before. And she was a black and tan. And so she was always, following us around the house, and, because they like to be by you and stuff. But she could sense that I was in a lot of pain, and so even more so, she would stick close with me and want to lay on the bed with me or the chair, whatever it was I was sitting in that day. She was all of our dog, but she tended to kind of sit with Steve more, but she would sit with all of us, of course. But ever since I got diagnosed with that, and especially after my brain surgery, she really would stick close to me. And anyway, so it's been really, really hard because I miss her a lot. And it just sucks because, she's been in our family for 11 years. And I know there are people who have pets way longer than that, and I think that's great. And I'm happy that, people get to have their pets for a longer time. But for a mini Dachshund, they told us, about the average lifespan is between 10 to 12 years. I know some can go up to 14 if they don't, if they don't develop any type of illness or something, but she got some type of stomach cancer, and she started developing different lumps and stuff like on her spine and her head, and and stuff. And a year ago, you guys, she was completely fine. I'm gonna say that we first started noticing her weight loss and stuff. I don't know, maybe October, November, maybe. And I mean, she was eating up until the very end. She was eating and going to the bathroom and drinking water, but it started to decline a lot. And she had difficulty eating and swallowing, even though she wanted to eat. And um, uh, anyway, so that's been major factor as to why I haven't been putting out crafting videos and stuff, because I just don't feel like it. And crafting has always been my thing to turn to. And I just haven't felt like it because of that. And there's some other stuff too, which is all good news. But I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of you who've been subscribed to me for a long time. Sorry, I'm sniffling. You know, you've seen pictures of her, and I put her in my videos and stuff. Not like constantly or anything, but I would, you know, it was I would put her on my table and stuff, because she was just so small, and I had to watch her because she would try to eat everything, like my paper, and you know, if I had an ink pad open, she would try to lick it. I never let her. I caught her in time, stuff like that. And so I never really had her on my crafting table or anything, but I, you know, would put the camera on her when she was like laying in my room, or I would post a lot of pictures. I mean, I probably posted as many pictures of her on Instagram and stuff as much as I do my kids and my grandson. Because she was just meant so much to us and to me. So that's been really hard. And the next couple things, which are all good. So if I start to look emotional, like I'm crying and stuff, it's nothing bad, except for, you know, one thing is, you know, leaving your family and stuff. But we are we actually have our house on the market. It's been about, I think, a little over a week. I'm trying to remember exactly. And last year, when Steve and I went to go visit one of my best friend, Angie, and her husband, Jeff. And this was the second time that we met in real life. And the very first time was when we went to the Seth after class. They actually came to Oregon, because that's where the class was, and where I am. And my husband and her husband instantly connected. I call them kind of like frickin' frack. They just got along really, really well from the beginning. Matter of fact, something kind of funny. Whenever Angie and I would, you know, be doing FaceTime or video chat, whatever you want to call it, like one-on-one, we'd just be crafting or just gabbing, you know, just laughing, just having a good time. And then, you know, Steve would kind of pop in because he'd bring me like some tea or something like that. And he's like, oh, hey, you know, blah, blah. And, you know, because we knew about each other's families, because when you're friends, that's what you do. You talk about your family and stuff like that. And, you know, so Angie, they live in Montana. And Angie and her husband are huge outdoors people, you know, hunting, fishing, all the outdoor things. And so, and my husband is that. If you looked up an outdoorsman, hunter, fisher, lover of nature, things like that, you would see my husband's face, because he's passionate about that. Well, it's one of his passions. Anyway, so, you know, we were just sitting there gabbing and stuff, and then Steve would, you know, be in the room where Harris talking, and those two would start talking about, you know, outdoor stuff and things like that. And it was cool. I wasn't like, you know, get out of here, she's my friend. It wasn't like that at all. I thought it was great. And then when Jeff would be home, he would hear us talking, and then he started popping in. And then it was funny because it seemed like kind of over time, Angie and I would kind of get pushed out of the screen, and it would be like Steve and Jeff, and we're like, start your own video chat. Anyway, it's all good. It's been an amazing time getting to know you know, Jeff and Angie more and more. And when we first met in real life, and I had never met anybody in real life that I'd met online, that I had a real true friendship with. And it was like we grew up together. Anyway, people at Seth Apter's workshop actually thought she and I had been friends in real life for like decades, or since childhood or something. And we're like, no, we just met for the first time in real life like 2 days ago. And they're like, what? So it's just been wonderful. And it's always great when your girlfriends and their husband or partner, boyfriend, whatever, get along really well with your spouse or your partner, whatever. And it's just been great. And we have kids the same age, roughly within a year or two of each other. We're in the same season of life. Our kids are out doing their own thing, and stuff like that. So when we were there last year to visiting them, almost actually a year ago today, we were there and we stayed there for 10 days and it was amazing. And Steve and I fell in love with Montana. We thought it was just beautiful. And so we're actually looking at properties while we were there, just kind of seeing what options were and just kind of feeling things out, and all that kind of stuff. And so we'd been for a year kind of toying around the idea of moving there and just kind of starting like a new chapter in our life. And so we have decided to act on that, and that's what we're doing. So we are moving to Montana, and it's all good. And for those who don't know, a little backstory: I'm born and raised in Oregon. Lived in the same town my whole life until we moved to Florida in 2016, June of 2016. And I think I'm bad at math in my head, like mid 40s, I think, or something. So I lived in my town, or early 40s. I lived in that my town for my entire life. And so going from Oregon to Florida is an extreme culture shock because we don't have humidity here. We don't have hurricanes here. And it was, a really cool experience. We lived there for about almost 3 years. It was for my husband's company. They relocated us, and then he got an amazing job opportunity that would require him to be back on the West Coast. So it was a win-win. We thought that we would be in Florida for about 3 to 5 years. Sorry, this is super chatting, super long. If you guys are, you're like, okay, her pet passed away and they're moving to Florida and you want to check out, totally cool. I understand. I'm very chatty. I know that. So if you say you like it, so that's good, because that's how I am. So, what was I saying? What was I talking about? Oh, that we figured we'd be about a 3 to 5 year plan on living in Florida. And so, we didn't know why we thought that, we just did. And so we didn't quite make it to 3 years. So we moved back home to Oregon, and that's where all of our family is. Some of Steve's family's in Washington State because that's where he was born technically, but they moved to Oregon when he was pretty young. And, so it was great. I had a new grandson that was born while we were in Florida, and our first grandchild. And, so I'd fly back and forth and stay about a month or so, pretty much as long as I wanted to and all that. So I was super excited to be back in Oregon so I could see my grandson, as much as I wanted to. And our daughter, she's going to be 22 in September, so she was going to be starting her junior year in high school. So of course she came with us. She had the decision to finish her last 2 years of high school and stay here with her dad if she wanted to. I of course wanted her to be with me, but she was almost 17, and I felt it was important to give her that decision because I couldn't imagine at 16 being uprooted like that. That would have been probably the most traumatic thing to me at that age anyway. And because that was all I knew, and Lebanon was all she knew. It was all of her best friends and girlfriends and whatever. And she was like, no, I'm going with you. And I was like, oh. Inside I was like, yes, thank you. Because I've never not lived with her. I mean, she's my child. And so she came with us and all that. And so she was, happy to come back too, to be around family and friends and whatnot. So it was all a good move. There are many, many things we miss about Florida: the beaches, the food, just the culture, and just everything. I don't remember what I was talking about. Why did I bring that up about the move and stuff? I don't remember. Anyway, so we are making the move, and so we've been back in Oregon. We moved back in, I think it was July of 2018, something like that. Maybe it was August. I can't remember. It was 2018, and we purchased our home before we moved back. And if you've been following me on my different social media and my videos and stuff, and I talk about it and a lot, and how we have a full-size we have a full-size RV bay, and on the end of the whatever the length of a normal RV bay is, the prior owner, he added on 2 rooms, downstairs, upstairs. And so Steve said, hey, do you want these for your craft rooms? I'm like, yes, please, thank you. I was totally blessed and happy about it. And that's where I'm at right now, is my downstairs room. I'm actually sitting on the floor, so it's a little chaotic behind me. And so my downstairs room has always been kind of like my main crafting space, like where I do, different paintings and mixed media and things like that. And I keep, a bulk of my regular use supplies. And my upstairs room had turned into kind of like my paper storage slash my fabric room. And that's where I would put together my slow stitch kits, and I would cut down fabric when I was that I thrifted or bought by the yard. My collection of vintage purple quilts are up there, stuff like that. And I already had my little corner set up, well, not fully, and I was gonna make a little stitching corner so I could sit up there and slow stitch with you guys while filming and just kind of chit chat and things like that. Well, I've been in my downstairs craft room working, I would say, for able to function in here, I would say, for probably about a year, maybe a little over, something like that. And as far as like having all my supplies, most of my supplies in here, not having to go back and forth and get things out of totes and stuff. And then in my upstairs room, I would say maybe since the first of this year. So it is sad for me to leave my 2 rooms, and I know they're just a space, but I'm that type of person where stuff means things to me and I get attached to stuff, and so change is kind of hard for me. And I know it's just rooms, I get that. And, in our new place where we're going, when we buy property with a house or build a house or whatever, Steve has always told me for years that he would love to build me a standalone cottage for me, a crafting, cottage where I'd have like, a half bath and, sink and place for like a fridge and, things like that. And I was always like, oh, that'd be so amazing to do something like that. And so it's like, I know you're sad to leave your rooms, but this is something you can look forward to. And so I am, and I'm very excited about it. And so I hope the new owners will love the rooms. If they don't like purple and lavender, I'm sure one of the first things they're going to do is repaint the walls, which makes me sad. And probably, I'm sure, take down my gorgeous, beautiful wallpaper that I have in the back wall, which is really expensive. I was really tempted to take it off. Not that I would reuse it, but just to have it, I have quite a bit of spare stuff because I always kind of overbuy. And so I have, some rolls still that I can have to use in projects and remember and things like that. So that's what I've been working on. So I was in the middle of unpacking my fabrics and bolting fabrics and stuff in my linens in my upstairs room. And so now that has switched gears into kind of doing some purging, which I was going to do irregardless, whether we were going to be here for another 20 years or whether we were moving, last week. That was going to happen. I have been actively crafting for 26 years this year. I always did stuff as a kid and a teenager and things like that. But as far as like, consistently doing some type of crafting, scrapbooking, whatever, it's been 26 years this year. And as you can imagine, you collect quite a bit of stuff. And I was on design teams and did guest design team things like with Graphic 45 and May Arts and DCWV and different stamp companies and stuff. And so your payment is to get product for free for you to design something for them, and they put it on their social media, so potential customers will be like, oh, that's how I could use that paper, oh, that's how I could use that stamp. That's what that is, in case you aren't familiar with what a design team is in that regard, like with major companies and stuff. And so I have a lot of that kind of stuff. And and my tastes and style have changed over the last couple decades. And that happens, I think, with everything in life. Furniture changes and your clothing style changes and stuff like that. So I had actually been purging probably a little over a year ago. I started doing, more locally, because some of the stuff would be a little bit tricky to ship and things like that without it being super expensive. And so I don't want people to think that I'm destashing a lot as of late because I have to get rid of things or I can't take things with me or things like that. I am solely making the decision on what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. My husband has never, ever, ever said, you need to get rid of that. You need to stop, buying too many books, or you need to, get rid of these or sell some of your whatever. No, my husband is guilty for probably half of the stuff that I have since we've been together. We've been married for 12 years this year. And I'm very spoiled, and I know that. And so he's never been like that. And so whenever I want to sell stuff, it's because Abby wants to, and that's my decision to do that. So I just want to say that too, just to mention that. And so I have been selling like tons and tons of paper. Some of you have purchased from me different things, and I'm so thankful and grateful. Thank you for that. I always keep the money from that kind of stuff and from the items and journals and things that I sell. I keep that separately from like household money and those types of funds, and that's what I use to, when I would go out thrifting or buying more vintage laces and linens and books and stuff, or just whatever. I mean, I don't have to explain what I do with my money to anybody, but so it's Abby's fund money is what I'm trying to say. And so I just kind of stash that back, and I can just kind of go banana nuts crazy if I want to on buying stuff. And so that has ceased because we are moving, and that's fine, because I know that I will find new honey holes and new favorite thrift shops and bookshops and stuff in Montana, the area we're going to be living in. So that'll be fun. I am sad to leave my St. Vinny's because I get my books so super cheap, old books and stuff, and I get a lot of, you have your favorite thrift stores and your places to purchase different things that we like. So those types of things will be sad. Now, you might be thinking like, she hasn't mentioned her family, friends, or her grandson, because I'm saving the best for last. And that has been really hard. When I called and told my son, we wanted the video to, actually I wanted to be in person. He lives about 45 minutes away from me, but just his work schedule and just different things, it didn't work out. And I wanted to tell him pretty immediately after we made the decision, because, I didn't want him to find out from somebody else in the family or anything. I wanted to come from me to him. My son and I were pretty close, and not that I'm not with my daughter. My kids are 4 years, 10 days apart. So Trey and I were buddies, for 4 years, just the two of us and stuff. And so, I was crying when I told him, and I said, this is all good. I'm not, this isn't a decision that I don't want to do or move I don't want to make. I said, the very, very hardest thing is to leave my son and my grandson, and add to that mix my daughter. And she has never not lived with me in her whole life. And it was hard when Trey moved out when he was 19, but I completely understand that is the natural progression of life. Kids grow up and move out and explore their own things in life, spread their wings, and that's what us as parents are preparing our kids to do. So I wasn't naive thinking, my kids will live with me until they're 40. No. Number one, I wouldn't really want that. They need to be on their own, doing their own thing, and that's what they're doing. And so Kaylee works full-time, and she's in college full-time, and she still lives with us. And that was, and my kids always knew, as long as they had a job or going to school or both, that, they could live with us, not, we didn't charge our kids rent or anything like that. They paid for their own car insurance and stuff like that, because they do need to have some type of responsibility. And if there was a car payment, then that's on them as well. Those types of things, because, like I said, it's important for them to establish credit and to, anyway, I don't know why I'm telling you all this extra stuff. I think it's because I'm not nervous, but just a lot of stuff going on. And so I tend to be even more talky when I am like that. And so I'm sorry that I'm like extra gabby today. So, and we of course gave her the option, you can come with us. I didn't really think that she would, because, her job is here. Not that, I don't think there are, the stores she works at there. I don't know for sure, but her college, she's going to be transferring to Oregon State University because they have an excellent engineering program. And that's what she's going to be, is she's going into engineering. And used to be architect, then it was a prosecutor, lawyer, and then it's always been those three pretty much since she was in middle school. And so we're not surprised that she switched from being a lawyer to doing engineering and then kind of going back to architecture. She can do all three if she wants to. She can do anything. So my daughter's just really, really intelligent, and she got, she graduated with honors, and she's always been on a roll, straight A and stuff. So school is very important to her. College is very important to her. And so about 90% of me already figured that she would say, want to stay here, and that's what she's doing. And so when we first told her about our decision, to move, and she knew this was kind of on the table because she lives with us and hears us talking and things, and she's been looking for an apartment, I would say not quite close to a year, just because of the quarantine and all that. And so once things started kind of opening up back here in Oregon, she and Steve wanted to go look at apartments and stuff, and for her, and so just kind of pricing it and seeing what she could afford and budget. And my daughter is completely opposite of me as far as like wanting to spend and shop, and I think that's great because she's gonna have so much money stashed away. Not that I overspend and I can't pay bills. I'm not saying it in that context, but I have savings, of course, but I like to shop. Okay, let's just be real. And she does too, to an extent, but not like I do, or her brother, or even Steve for that matter. And so she's really, really good with her money, and so she wants to stay within a certain budget. She could get a nicer end apartment for whatever, but she not wanting to do that, and I think it's really great of her. Of course, she's not going to be in any place that's unsafe or anything like that. We'll make sure of that, of course. Anyway, so she's going to be staying here, living her life, spreading her wings. And whenever we told her, of course, I was sobbing. I'm an emotional person anyway, but because she's like, "You're not abandoning me," and I'm like, "Oh, I am," And she's like, "Mom, I'm going to be 22 this year. It's fine." She goes, "Yeah, it's sad, because she's always lived with us, but." We knew this day was coming, and I know that I've had her home with me a lot longer than other parents, because she's, like I said, she's going to be 22 in September. So I'm very grateful for those extra years that I had with her that I didn't have with Trey, because he wanted to move out, quite a bit earlier, and that's great, and that's fine. So even though Steve and I have always kind of considered ourselves empty nesters, because Kaylee does her own thing. Even though we live in the same house, there are some days that we only see her like in passing, because she's got hours and hours of homework, and then she works, like I said, a full-time job. She starts work about 4:45 in the morning, sometimes 3. Just depends on when they need her to come in. She's always the person that will come in when somebody calls in sick, she has an amazing work ethic, and I'm not patting myself in the back, but I do too. And I can't work any longer because of my facial pain and stuff. Not my choice, my doctor's and my neurosurgeon. So when I was working outside the home, that's how she is, and that's how I was. And so she always does that. She just, because she wants the extra hours and the money to stash away, and that's great. So it's not like we're sitting down and have dinner every single night and watching movies every day like when the kids were younger. Because she's living her life, and we respect that. And so it's kind of like we're empty nesters, because I don't have the responsibility of doing things for her, because she's been doing that for a long time anyway. Wow, I am like way over talking. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to cut some of this stuff out. So so that is what we're doing. We are selling our house, packing things up actively, and I'm still crafting actively as much as I possibly can. Steve's like, keep doing it, keep creating, don't worry about it, don't stop what you're doing, and pack up everything you have. So I don't want to give a lot of detail as to where we're going to be living initially or anything, because that's just trying to keep some stuff in our lives private. But we aren't going to be living on our own property or buying property beforehand, because we want to live there for a while and decide, okay, what part of this area of Montana do we want to live in, and do we want to buy bare land and build a home, or do we want to buy land property with an existing house, and how much would it cost to make that existing home into something we would like, or our taste and stuff. And so irregardless of whether we build a house or buy an existing house, our main criteria is to have some property. I don't know if it's going to be a couple acres, I don't know, but that has always been our goal, is to have property. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And so, you know, we are very, 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 very blessed to have a place where we can stay, you know, while we're looking for our own place. And so that's just going to be fantastic. And so we're not taking everything we own, because that would be crazy, because there's no place to put it because we don't have our own place yet. So we have a couple storage units here, which we don't like paying for storage, but we understand the necessity of it. Especially in our situation, because we have a massive RV base behind me, and so we've never had to pay for storage because we have that, and we have a garage and all that. And so we're not taking, you know, things like some furniture things, and a majority of my craft stuff is going to be staying here for obvious reasons. There's some furniture I'm going to be selling that's in my rooms, probably my little outlook stores behind me, even though I love them. These things are replaceable. I can get them from IKEA anytime. My vintage stuff, not so much. These things will be buried with me. Who was it? Somebody on one of the lives said, it was so funny. They said that I would need a tomb. I can't remember who said that, but they're like, Abby's going to need a tomb when she dies, because I keep saying, that's going to get buried with me, and that's going to get buried with me. I'm just so passionate about vintage things. I have been my entire life. And that's where my love of old movies and stuff comes from too. And I am a collector, and I guess a hoarder, but I'm a clean hoarder. When I say hoarder, I think of that TV show Hoarders. No, 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 we are not that way at all. Angie can attest to that. She's been in our home. That is not what I mean. And I'm not throwing shade against anybody who is that way. I'm not. I'm just saying that's not how I am. But I have a lot of stuff. And, you know, because it takes time to accumulate different vintage pieces of furniture, because a lot of them aren't very cheap. You know, my husband spoils me with them for, you know, wedding gifts, anniversary, birthday, things like that, or just because. And it's fun for me. Part of the excitement is the thrill of the hunt, so to speak. And so there are some vintage pieces I'm going to be selling because I love other pieces more. But those obviously are going to be local things, because I'd be crazy to try to ship something like that, or to break it down and have the buyer put it back together. Just buy it from IKEA yourself. You know what I mean? So things like that, obviously I'm not going to be selling off my YouTube channel or my Etsy shop. Anyway, so I am going to be able to take, you know, like the regular standard size totes. I don't know what the dimensions are. Like I have you propped up on one of them, just like your regular, you know, standard totes. I'm going to be taking probably between 4 and 6 of those, and a few smaller ones to have like my basic supplies and stuff in. And because I don't have to rebuy that stuff there, because that doesn't make any sense when I already have it. And so I'm going to be taking like a variety of, you know, some of my fabrics, my vintage laces and trims and linens, and old books, a selection of book covers, you know, a pretty good chunk of like vintage, like legit vintage paper and ephemera, because, you know, it's pretty flat. It's, you know, I can fit quite a bit of that in a tote, or even half of a tote. And I also create with things that are not vintage. You know, I use fabric by the yard, I use Timmy ephemera, things like that. So it's going to be a mix, but it's mostly going to be vintage. And definitely my stitching stuff, that is like the number one for me, for sure. So I'm going to be having some supplies to take with me, so I can still create and have something to do while I'm there. And that way I can still work on journals I already have started and complete them and get them uploaded for sale. I probably am not going to be in the position to do any new slow stitch kits, but that may be able to happen, because there is an amazing, I can't even tell you guys, this shop that Angie introduced me to. I have a video on it sharing with you what I purchased, and at the end of that video I did like a tour of the guy's shop. It's just, please go watch it. You can skip to the end, and I think it's like 5 or 10 minutes maybe, and of the tour of his place, and it's full of nothing but authentic vintage stuff, linens, lace, hankies, your normal antique stuff, you know, glassware and things, and hat boxes, and I mean everything you could think of. It's just, it's like Disneyland and Disney World and 25,000 Christmases all put together. That's the excitement I feel when I go in there. It's just amazing. And I'm going to be really excited to live fairly close to it. My husband, not so much. So I'll be able to still source and purchase things to put in kits. I don't think I'll have time before I pack up everything to do it anymore. If I do, I will I'll make as many as I can, and then I'll probably be just packing those and then selling those once we get to Montana, whether it be off my YouTube channel or in my Etsy shop. Extremely grateful for my girl Michelle Scott. She's one of my best friends and I love her to death. She means a lot to me, and I don't want to cry because I am super emotional. So she very graciously, when on her last sale, offered to give me the opportunity to sell my slow stitch kits, and I'm so appreciative of that. Michelle, thank you so much, and thank you to all the ladies who purchased from me. I get a little self-conscious and kind of negative self-talk because I get insecure, and I've been that way my entire life. I know that I make, it's hard for me to say, but I know I make pretty stuff like my journals and things, and I think I can put things together where it looks good, I think, like colors and fabrics and patterns and stuff. And I can't even look at the camera when I say that because I feel extremely awkward saying that, because I feel like I'm being boastful, and that is completely not in my makeup at all. And so it was very, very, very generous of her to do that, and I appreciate the support. So with that said, I plan on either making some kits before we go, before we pack. I pack it fully if I can. If not, I'll have some things that I can put together kits while we're there, because I'll be taking like my packing supplies and stuff like that, you know, for my bags and everything, so I can do stuff while I'm there too. And not to, you know, sell stuff and get money. That's actually not even a priority. It's I create and I craft for probably the main reason is for what all of you do. And, you know, it's therapeutic, it's healing, and, you know, it's a time filler. And ever since I became diagnosed with my facial pain disorder, one disease, and then after my brain surgery I obtained a second one, so now I have two. I have a whole playlist on that. If you're interested, I'll put it below. If you don't want to watch it, totally cool, because it's nothing to do with crafting, of course. And so creating has become even more vital, important in my life, especially slow stitching and stitching in general, hand stitching, so, and embroidery. And so I definitely will be having those items so I can continue to do that. And my husband is so supportive, and he knows that and respects it and understands it, and actually was, you know, saying how many more totes I could possibly take, because I can't be selfish and take up all the limited storage space we have, because he's got stuff too, you know, so I can't be like that. I wouldn't want to be like that. So I think I'm probably going to be able to take more things than I initially thought, just because, you know, he's like, he knows the importance of all of this to me. So it also helps me from overeating and snacking. I haven't shared this with you guys on my channel because I thought it would be weird just to say that, but I have been on Weight Watchers off and on, and ever since I have got put into surgical menopause, when I was in my late 30s, it has not been as easy for me to lose weight. You know, I could drop 5 pounds like that, not a problem. 10 pounds, not a problem. Even when I was working, I mean, I've never been like, you know, what I guess they would classify as like morbidly obese or anything like that, but I was at a very unhealthy weight for my height and other medical things that I have. And so my husband's birthday is July 3rd, and when I saw the picture of he and I at his mom's house for his birthday, I was like, oh my gosh, who is that person? I could not believe how much weight I had gained. And, you know, because I don't work outside the home, and so I'm used to wearing, you know, like leggings and athletic shorts that have a elastic waistband. Yeah, I would put on clothes with, you know, like jeans and shorts and stuff when I would leave, but they'd be tight, and so I just go buy a little bigger size and stuff. And before I even continue, so anybody who is not on a weight loss journey like I've been on, I am in no way, shape, or form thinking I'm better than anybody else. Extremely quite the opposite. So I don't want anybody who doesn't know me through my channel and the 10 years I've been on YouTube to think that I'm being disrespectful or not sensitive to other people who aren't on a weight loss journey. I just want to say that. It's probably not the best way to say it, but that's the best way I can think of in this moment. So I started on Weight Watchers. It was July, I have to look at my journal. I think it was July 28th, something like that. And to this date, which is, I think it's June 2nd. Let me look. What is today? Yeah, June 2nd. I have lost 76 pounds. And I am so proud of myself. I have done Weight Watchers in the past, and for some reason when I hit 35 pounds lost, I just fell off the wagon. I don't know why I would do that to myself, but I did. And my husband has never ever once said, oh, you lose some weight, or you get a little chubby, or he never walked up and grabbed like my fat roll or something. He's not like that at all. So I am doing this for myself, nobody else, not my family, not my, well, to a degree to my family, because I have high blood pressure and cholesterol, and which is pretty rampant in African Americans. And my biological dad, who was full black African American, whatever you want to say, he died of heart disease. So did his twin sister, and so did his mom and his mom's mom. So it's in my DNA. And so with my doctor kind of being frank with me and saying, do you want to see your grandson grow up, and do you want to see your daughter get married, and do you want to see your son do blah blah blah, and he's like, we need to kind of get this in control. And I was overeating. I'm just gonna be honest and tell you, well, not that I'm not honest, but I'm just gonna be, I guess, more open about it. I was eating because of depression and anger, because it was not my choice to stop working. I've always had a job since I was 18, and then I did nursing school, and I was working full time and pregnant with my daughter, and had a 4-year-old, well, 3-year-old when I started technically. And so I've always been a very motivated, hardworking type of person, and it's been 6 years, I think, since my doctors pretty much forced me to stop working, my neurosurgeon and my family doctor who's local. And so it wasn't my decision to stop. And I'm not angry at them, because I understand why now, and it actually was the best decision for me, because it was really hard for me to try to work, especially when you have an invisible illness and people look at you and they think like, what's your problem? You look fine. What, you have a headache? No, you don't have a brain surgery for a headache. And I'm not, I've had migraines most of my life, and when I get one, because I get that weird, I can't remember what they call it, but you get that weird vision. It's like double vision blurry. When I get that, I don't even feel the migraine, because this pain is so bad. Anyway, it's not about my facial pain, but that is a contributing factor to me eating. I would just overeat because I was depressed, and I was home, and just all that kind of stuff. And so I was just way overeating. And so I have just been making better health decisions for myself, mostly for me, because if you're not, you have to want to improve yourself in any aspect for yourself, not for anybody else, because if you don't, you're not going to be successful. In my experience, that's been my experience. So I lose weight for Abby, and then after that is so I can be here as long as I possibly can for my family, my immediate, well, all my family, my friends, but my husband and my kids and grandson. So I say all of that just to share that stitching specifically in creating is another way that I can kind of control some other behaviors, I guess, in my life, which is eating. I love to eat, specifically sweets. My thing is my favorites, because I'm sure you're thinking, what are Abby's favorite sweets? Well, I'm going to tell you. Cotton candy, caramel, however you want to say it, and marshmallow. My top 3. And I love it when all 3 are together. I might be like, that's gross, Abby. That is sickeningly sweet. That does not exist in my world. Matter of fact, we had a cotton candy machine at our wedding reception. It was amazing. I loved it, and it was very us, very me. And so I have a massive sweet tooth, and Steve always tells me, he goes, I'm surprised that your teeth haven't fallen out of your mouth. He said, because as much sugar as I like to eat, I can't help it. I love those three things. And so, you know, that helps me with keeping my hands busy and not wanting to just constantly eat. Do I still have sweets and stuff? Yeah, I do. And that's why, one of the many reasons why I like Weight Watchers, because you're eating regular food. And yeah, they have packaged meals and stuff, and I buy some of those, not all of them. I like lean cuisine better, but you know, I'm eating just regular stuff. I'm not having to drink shakes, which I used to do, 2 different kinds actually, or eating prepaid meals like one of my sisters did. I think that was with Nutrisystem. You just eat regular stuff that you can go to a restaurant, you can have cake if you want, whatever. It's just not, for Abby, it's not eating a half a gallon of ice cream in about, you know, a day and a half, or sometimes, yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's about Abby having a normal portion size and controlling that. And so, and I've been doing that. So I'm really proud of myself for that. So that's another reason why creating and stitching is so important to me. So I have been talking way too long, and I'm sorry for that, but I did want to just kind of give you guys an update as to where we're at and why there haven't been, you know, any tutorials. I have several clips of me working on different things. I have a couple quick tips with Abby that I'm still working on, and I'm going to be doing some more destashing paper videos. I'm going to be switching gears here a little bit and get back to filming those videos so I can get that stuff, you know, sold and kind of into other people's hands, because I have a lot. And I am selling things on Marketplace, of course, like, you know, home decor stuff that I don't want. Or so anyway, that's where I'm at. So you're going to be seeing some more videos. I'm going to try to work on a couple of the quick tips with Abby so I can get some actual creative content on my channel. I am working on a journal. Do you guys want to see a quick sneak peek? Give me a second. I'm going to go grab it. It's on my table. I'll be right back. I don't have all the different elements and things that go with this because it's on my table, because it would be pretty difficult for me to hold it up and try to show you that. I needed to be, you know, my tabletop view that I always do. So some of the things are missing, but this journal, I love it. And there's not a lick of purple on it. And I don't always make everything with purples. You guys know that if you bought journals and things from me in the past. But anyway, so this, I'm just going to do a quick one. I'm going to save for the flip through, but this is the cover, the front cover. And what I did is I just repurposed 2 old vintage book covers where the spine was deteriorated. So that's what the cover looks like. And then I'll show you, I don't want to show too much because I'm going to wait for the flip through, but I'll show you a few things. Matter of fact, I'll show you because I already have a video on embossing velvet, and that's some of the things I did. So here's one page where I have, oops, see, things are falling out, where I embossed on the velvet. So I'll link that video below as well. Of course, there's slow stitching because that's Abby. And so this will be up for sale, of course. And I don't know when, because I'm really close to being done with it. I'm really close to being done with it. That's kind of all I really want to show you guys. I'm sorry, it's not much of a really good sneak peek. I'll show you the back side here. I can't tell if you guys can see it or not. So that's the back cover. So anyway, I would say 98% done with this. I just have a few more touches I want to add to it, and to make it truly Abby. So I'll be having that up on my channel to sell. I'll also throw it into my Etsy shop, and my friend Michelle, I've already mentioned a couple times before, she has a selling group on Facebook, and I'll put a link to that below as well. So I do have that coming up. I'll have a full flip through. I do have a couple, I think, I'm trying to remember, because I started this a few months ago. Oh my goodness, I started this in February, I think. Maybe it was March. Anyway, it's different techniques and different things that I did on this journal. I have some videos for that too. So I'll be sure to try to work on those, editing those and getting them uploaded to my channel when it's like evening time, because I try not to do it when I'm out here either creating or now packing and purging, because I really want to take advantage of the windows that I have of where I feel good enough to want to do that because of this. So I try to do that. Anyway, all right, I'm going to quit chattering because this is way, way, way too long, and I'm sure extremely boring for you guys, so I apologize for that. But just kind of wanted to let you know where we're at and where I've been and kind of what's in the plans for me and my family. And Steve and I, just to end this real quick, Steve and I are very excited about this new adventure in our lives, this next chapter, and becoming, official empty nesters. And it's just exciting to explore all the different parts of Montana and surrounding states that I've never been to, or he's been to more, I think, the surrounding states than I have. But just exploring new stuff together. Like, I've never been to Yellowstone ever, and so he's excited to show that to me. Quick video insert. I forgot to mention this, that we will be, it's about a 3-hour flight from where we're going to be in Montana back to Oregon, and then it will be about a 10 to an 11-hour drive. So it's doable in one day. If I'm driving myself back, I probably would do it in 2 days, just because of, I just would. But I can't imagine myself driving myself back here without Steve coming, because, we have family here. So I will be a lot closer to Kyron and my kids than I was in Florida, which was an 8.5-hour plus flight. And it'll be a lot cheaper too. Not that money mattered at all, but, just the price of tickets and stuff. So once I'm able to fly again, because I cannot medically wear a mask, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So it'll probably just be solely us driving back. So while it's not a 45-minute drive away to see Kyron, it will be a heck of a lot closer than Florida for sure. And there will be times where we can get Kyron. He's only 4, so I don't think he is old enough to be away from his mom and dad for probably more than 3 or 4 nights, maybe, just because, he's attached to them. And obviously he loves us and, me and everything, but, if we had him for like a week or a week and a half, I'm not sure if he would not be missing his mom and dad too much, I'm trying to say. So when we'll get him, of course, but as the older he gets, it'll be a lot of fun for us to come and get him and have him stay with us and do all the fun things that grandparents get to do. So I just wanted to mention that in case some of you are wondering how close I will be and how often I can come back and visit. I can come back anytime I want, and I can come back as often as I want, and I can, I guess that was the same thing, and I can stay as long as I want, because my family's here, so I have a place to stay. So, all right, back to the video. And we both are, so it's going to be great. And sad, hard work, and great, but this move is not going to be as bad as Oregon to Florida and Florida back to Oregon. I mean, you couldn't even get farther across from the United States, I don't think, from West Coast to East Coast. So moving across the country literally is very hard to do. So this move will not be as hard. Even moving into another side of your town is a lot of work. We know that moving is not fun, but this will be a lot better than our Florida to Oregon trip for sure. So, all right, you guys, thanks for listening to me for so long, and let me kind of just update you. Sorry for the crying and sniffling at the beginning. She was very important to me, and that's all I'm going to say. So I am going to tack on just a very short video and some photos. It'll be like a montage of photos, just of Bella. She can just doing funny, cute, different things. And I think I have some pictures that I pulled out that where she's in my craft room. So I thought those would be kind of fun to show you too. So if you don't want to watch those, like I said, not a problem. And anyway, so thank you guys, and I will be getting some actual crafting content on my channel very soon. And if you're interested in more of my D-stashes, just keep an eye out on my channel. Make sure you're subscribed, click that notification bell, because as soon as I upload a video, you guys will know. And that's how that works. So, all right, I will see you guys later. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!